My name is Todd Gardner. I'm a marine biologist. I work as a professional aquarist at Atlantis Marine World. An aquarist is someone who takes care of aquaria. That's plural for aquarium. Each one of the tanks that you'll see in a public aquarium has someone who's responsible for all aspects of the care and maintenance. People are prone to thinking of a fish tank as a piece of art that sits in the corner and makes a room look nice, whereas it's a complex living ecosystem that takes a lot of care and nurturing. It's not just the animal itself, it's all of the work and imagination that goes into trying to make a habitat that's as much like their natural environment as possible. I deal with piranhas, corals, seahorses, clownfish. I also spend a lot of time in the waters of Long Island collecting specimens for our tanks. When I was in fourth grade, my fourth grade class took a field trip to my house to see my fish room. At the time, I had an octopus, I had a lobster, some piranhas. I run into people today, 30-something years later, and they still remember that field trip.
Well, Todd, I'm glad you were able to come down here and join my menagerie. You may feel like a fish out of water with all these birds and mammals, but I do have some fish here for you. And I know at the aquarium that you work at, you've got birds and mammals there too, right?
Sure do, yep.
What do you have there besides fish?
We've got otters, sea lions, seals, parrots, penguins.
Oh, so you got a full house there.
Yeah.
So you're in your natural element then. And what fish do you appreciate the most, like that you have in the public aquarium that you couldn't have in your home?
Well, it's not really a fish, but the octopus is really an amazing animal.
I wrote about an octopus in my book. I had an octopus when I was a kid.
Me too.
Well, remember Jacques Cousteau, The Wonderful World of Jacques Cousteau?
Yeah.
Well, they did a segment there where they taught an octopus to open up a jar to get a crab out. So I bought an octopus. It was like $100. It was like every penny I could muster. And I taught the octopus to do all those things. And I had him for a year. You know, I'll never forget the fascination. It was like something from another world.
Yeah.
So what kind of octopi do you have in the aquarium?
We have a giant Pacific octopus. It's the largest of the octopus.
How long do they live?
Not long.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years at the most.
So how long does it take them to grow to be, 6 feet wide like that?
The whole, with cephalopods, octopuses and squids, their whole strategy is to develop and mature very fast and then reproduce as soon as possible. So they all have very short lifespans, sadly.
Now, are the people who come in, do they have fish tanks at home?
Often they do. I'd say the majority probably don't, but we definitely get a lot of fish fans in there. They can't look at the sharks and say, I'm going to keep those at home. But they come in and see a really beautiful reef tank or a small planted aquarium with beautiful live plants in it, and it might inspire them to do something like that at home.
In your opinion, should someone start with a freshwater aquarium, a community tank, and then progress from there? Because it seems like people come in, they say, I want the redfish, I want the bluefish, I want the silverfish, without knowing the type of fish that it is or where it comes from or anything about it.
And that's probably the biggest mistake anyone makes, whether they want to start with a full-blown reef tank or the simplest freshwater tank. Coming in and basing your decisions about what to put in the tank, what they look like, how pretty they are, and no regard for who's going to get along with who. And you bring all these different animals in and put them in a tank, and often you have something that's going to outgrow the tank and get enormous. It has a special food requirement that you can't meet or that isn't compatible with the other species in the tank.
One of my pleasures is breeding fish. I like to breed discus and library fish. What's your passion and what fish do you get to breed in the aquarium?
Well, that's one of the best things about my job is I get to raise whatever breeds at the aquarium. And in large tanks, there's a lot of breeding going on. And so part of my job is to take the eggs and take the babies and raise them up for use back in our tanks or to trade with other aquariums. So I get to breed clownfish, seahorses, jellyfish.
There's a lot of marine fish that are now being bred in captivity.
Well, the prospect is very exciting. It's expensive research to do. Marine fish have a more complex life cycle than most freshwater fish, so that when they first hatch out, they're microscopic. You can barely see them. So they need very, very small food, and it always needs to be alive. So it's very challenging, but it's doable, and it's becoming, the technology is getting better for it all the time.
And for people that want to breed fish at home, what would you recommend?
I would recommend a good one if you want to get started in saltwater fish breeding. 2 good ones to start with would be the clownfish or the seahorse.
What fish should people not keep at home that you found?
In saltwater, what you want to stay away from are groupers, any kind of shark, pretty much. Most sharks will get too large for the average home aquarium. Moray eels, there are a few small eel species, but many of them get to be 6 or 7 feet long. In freshwater, you want to stay away from the pacu, arowana, red-tailed catfish, any of the other very large catfish.
Those are all fish that are offered to you regularly.
Every day.
Now you have sharks at the aquarium. Are they the animal in the aquarium that bites the most?
No, I think the animal that we're most afraid of is the otter.
The otter.
The otters, I
they
can't
have big
imagine
teeth.
anything more vicious.
And they're just pure muscle.
Yeah, and very sharp.
When people see them, they look so cute.
They're adorable. To watch them interact and hold hands and roll around and wrestle, they're like little puppies. But gosh, you try and touch one and it...
Yeah, that's the animal you don't want to get bitten by.
Unleash a fury on you that you can only dream of.
Well, thanks for being here, Todd. And I'll be back with my final tips about the fish that live in your home right after this. For more information, visit me online at marthastewart.com/petkeepingtv.